Hey everyone, in this video I want to talk about Nina's kit. She's our new water detonator Aurorian, and I wanted to quickly go over what she's bringing to the table. She is a new unit that has a fun gimmick that could be really rewarding. So in typical fashion, if you were to read her kit at face value from the press release, you would be kind of confused. There is this thing about their characters having kind of, so the problem I think with their kit, when you read through it, is that their active skill and equipment skill, they are part of the unit's overall play style. But when you read through it, because they're disconnected, you kind of like feel like you're scratching your head as to what is supposed to happen when you're actually in the game. So to get hyped for these units, I think you could go to the Discord and just talk with people, ask what are their thoughts, and just try to figure out for yourself, like, what's the feeling of what's the unit gonna do once I'm in the game. Or I think in the media section of the Discord, there's a lot of good videos of people going over the kit. But I think the most important thing to do if you're not sure if you want to pull for these units is to do the trial and to look at your team and to just decide if this is going to be a good fit. There's a collaboration coming really soon, or we're expecting it to be after this event, so you might want to save. So let's talk about our kit now. I'm going to pull up an image from the Discord that kind of summarizes her kit pretty well, I think. So here it is. So thanks to Hildegard for this just rewarding. So her active skill, it says, right, she has a parasol mode. Select one traversable tile and throw parasol, dealing 100% damage to tiles along the path and 200% damage to one cluster. Enter unarmed mode. Now in unarmed mode, reclaim. So when you reclaim the parasol, a global range, dealing 1000% damage to tiles along the path, and enter parasol mode. When an ally or yourselves, when you step on the parasol, it's a one less reduction to your cooldown. And when an enemy steps on the parasol, it adds to your cooldown to use the skill again. Okay, so let's just stop right there. Okay, I want you to think of you placing down this parasol, just placing down a beacon on the map, and on the initial placement, okay, you deal 100% damage to tiles along that path, and 200% damage to one cluster where you place down the parasol. I think that's where I'm going for. I think that's what I'm concluding from that. When you throw down your beacon, you're unarmed in a sense, right? Or so the gimmick here is, right, her real damage potential comes from her picking up her or reaching her beacon, because when she reaches that place where you first set down the point of, or like, to travel, you'll do 1000% damage along that path, and then you'll be back in parasol mode. Okay, so there's it's really very intuitive in the sense of they really did well in naming the mode unarmed and parasol. Though I'm not sure, because she has a lot of weapons around her. I'm not sure parasol is a good name, but I don't know. Um, so that's basically, so there's a good imagining of what she'll be like when she releases, right? Of what you'll do, or what kind of her playstyle will be. The really rewarding thing about this is that you can think of, okay, how many times can I do this? Because if once you pick it up, it's a reduction to your cooldown by 1, and she has a natural she has a natural 1 turn cooldown. So hypothetically, you could reach it. So if you go into Aurora time, right, you could pick it up and then do it again, and then you would have 1000 damage twice, which is sounds pretty insane. Imagine that on like a 4x4 or a 2x2 enemy, excuse me. I'm kind of foaming at the mouth because of how much damage you could potentially do to giant bosses, right? Because if it's like a one tile boss, still good, but I think it's less impactful. Oh, you just see less numbers, I guess, on the screen. But anyway, that's her main gimmick. Now, her equipment skill is kind of not that big of a deal. When you switch modes, you deal 200% damage to one cluster that radiates from you. And then when you're unarmed, you can attack diagonally. So she's pretty, like, I would say pretty well built. Like, she has a lot of things going on. So her gimmick is I think if you like this idea of planning ahead and picking up the and like picking and connecting to where you place down the traversable tile, then I think you should roll for her. I think at this point in the game, if you've been playing from the beginning, I think units like this, they're really refreshing to the game. But if you're just starting out, then you really have to, you have a lot of detonators to choose from, and you can decide if you want to, if this detonator doesn't feel like the most if this detonator doesn't interest you, then you probably don't want to roll for her, and you probably want to look at any recurring banner that might have a detonator that you want. Now, because the collab is coming presumably after this, with presumably like 5 units which will have a detonator in it, now does this imply that the collab units, right, the water unit is not going to be a detonator? Maybe not. It could still be a detonator, it just might not be a 6-star detonator. So if you're shorthand on detonators and you think this is gonna like hold you over for your 6-star for your team, then maybe you can roll. But yeah, I guess there's not much else to say on her kit. I saw the Discord and they were pretty hyped for this unit. I'm hyped as well. There's just a lot of fun things you could do with her kit. I think she pairs well with select tile converters and teleporters. I think she also, now, okay, so let's talk about one last thing. If you made it far into this video, let's talk about the breakthroughs, right? What's gonna be her breakthroughs for 3 and 6? I think 3, unfortunately, actually, I think it won't be preemptive. I want to hope, well, it most likely will be preemptive, but I want to hope it does not, because I think, actually, no, never mind. I think it might. I think it's going to be preemptive, and the BT6 might just be extending the damage. I think it just might be some damage modifier. I really like her kit as it is without any modifications to it coming from a breakthrough. Preemptive is always going to be preemptive. I think if preemptive is BT3, does that like it doesn't devalue her because her cooldown is very low, so you don't have to wait a long time for her to be effective. It might actually even be beneficial. Well, not beneficial, but it might be just a cause of her playstyle, because you have to place the umbrella down. So if you have a preemptive strike with the umbrella, with the parasol, and you set it down, well, then your goal is from round 1 to reach that place, right? If you can't reach that place, which would be presumably behind the enemy, because you want to reach it, right? You want to like do damage along that path, so the enemy would have to be in front of it. I'm sorry, behind it. What I'm saying is it might require some setup, right? That preemptive might not even be that useful, I guess. But actually preemptive is pretty strong. So we'll see. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching and have a good day.